Welcome back to Scavenger Workshop. It's crazy how popular this, Fallout has become since the TV show. So I've decided to completely print the entire armor, and I'm going to do a paint tutorial on each and every piece. So if you guys haven't done it already, please subscribe. So for this one, we're going to do it with brushes, and I'm going to do some rust effects and whatnot. Later on, I'll probably do some airbrushing, so that way you guys can see how to do that as well. I'm going to share with you some tips on how to, sand and fill some of the issues when you're doing the 3D print, so that way it comes out really nice. So yeah, so let's jump on in and let's paint this bad boy up. We're going to go ahead and paint this T-60 from Fallout. What you're going to need is you're going to need to go ahead and sand, primer it, and then paint it flat black. I put 4 coats of primer on it, then I sanded it, and then I used this glazing putty from Bondo to fill the little spots in the print lines, and then sanded it again, primered it 2 more times, and then shot it with this flat black right here. So there's a lot of paint on here. You need you a good cheap set of brushes, all round tip, various sizes. You don't want to use your good brushes because this paint right here that we're going to use, you're not going to be able to get it off the brush unless you use some sort of chemical, like paint thinner or something. So. All right, let's see. Shake it up really well. This paint here, you can find this at Michael's. It's called metallic silver, and this is what we're going to use to give that raw metal look. So we're going to dry brush this. Everything we're going to do in this tutorial, we're going to do with paint brushes, acrylic paint, some of these model paints, and just the basic stuff, because we're going to want to do this so everyone else can do this as well. Later on we'll do some airbrushing, but not right now. All right, go ahead and get a brush here. Open up my paint. I have to use my teeth to open it. This paint's usually pretty messed up when you get it from the hobby store. All right, so I'm gonna dip my brush in. And I'm gonna go ahead and wipe off all the excess paint on the tissue paper. Right? I want it almost to where there's no paint left on it. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna start in the center of a high spot, like say this little nub here, and you're gonna want to go in a circular motion outwards. And as you get closer to the edge, it's going to get a lot more faded. So imagine your high spots are where something's rubbed against it, and it's going to be the shiniest parts of that area, and then you're going to work your way out. And you can continue to do this in different spots. Also, you want to think about how, this thing was cleaned. So, all the little crevices, it's going to be a lot darker where you can't get in there with a rag, So it's going to look a lot more dirtier in those little crevices. So, but yeah, as you get to the edges and any high spots, you want those to be shiny. And you'll see it as you're doing it. You'll see the it's starting to look more metallic. Any when you're sanding this and whatnot, don't try and focus on all the little nicks and scrapes and divots in there. That you want that because that's going to give the metal effect. What you want to focus on is the print lines because that's what draws your eyes in, and you notice those parallel lines that are sequentially spaced, equally. That's your eyes going to be drawn to that. So when I use this filling putty, I don't care so much to get it completely flat or allow it to be completely smooth because this thing is not going to be smooth. This is in the Fallout universe. It's going to be banged up, nicked, all that. Keep doing it in a circular motion until you run out of this paint on your brush, and then just do the same thing. Dip it, dry it off as much as you can, and then go ahead and dry brush it on there. It's hard to tell because it's silver, but I'm gonna try and get the camera a little closer so you guys can see the effect that I'm seeing here. Focus a little bit. You see that? How it's starting to look metallic, but you still have those little faded areas in there. And if you make mistakes and you put too much on, you can go to that same Michaels and you can get this flat black as well. And you just do the opposite. You dry brush this on in the area that you feel that you have too much in there. And like I said, try and remove as much off as possible when you first get in there because you don't want it to be too bright. And go in there a little soft until you removed a lot of it. Probably not going to get to the rust effects in this episode. We'll probably save that for the next episode. This is going to take a while to do. This is one of my go-to paints for a given metal effect. You know? Yeah, it's starting to look really nice. Keep in mind, though, that right now we just have pretty much two colors: the metal color and then the dark black. So it's going to start coming together later on when we start putting, some of the rust effects. And for the rust, you're going to want to use an acrylic like the red iron oxide or the burnt umber. That's your good rust colors when you want to start doing that. Get a better look at this. Oh, that's looking really nice. You can you can really see all the little nicks in the little potholes and whatnot in here, especially around the rivets and stuff. That really makes it look like this was some kind of cast iron, thing that someone made in the factory. All right. So I'm probably only going to do this half here, and then I'll finish up the other half off stream. Also, keep in mind, like the big open areas, that's where the polishing is most going to happen because that's an area that you can get to easily with the rag. So you want that to be a lot shinier, less of the transition, anywhere that's easily accessible. And also hard edges too. Sometime I'll come back with just the paint itself really strong against an edge, and that looks like something just rubbed up against it really hard. It's, and the best part about this is you really can't make a mistake because you can keep adding and removing as you need to make it all come together. So the whole idea behind this is that there's dirt and grease as well on the metal surface itself. So that's why you get this different variation of the black and the chrome. A little bit more so I can see. This paint really does go a long way. Another thing I was less concerned with was when I shot the black top coat on. I didn't really sand it smooth, the previous coat of primer, because all those little variations of stuff is actually going to make it look more like metal than if it was just a completely smooth surface. Because you got to remember, cast iron stuff is not completely smooth. It's got this texture to it.